Hello, everybody, and welcome to the February Oracle Wisdom reading. I do apologize for this being a couple of days late with the travel that I've had going on and a few other things conflicting with my schedule. This has been the earliest that I've been able to get this to you. We are doing pick a pile once again. I have three piles laid out. I will say there is one pile in particular that extra cards kept jumping into. So I've listened to the cards and that's sitting there. So let's get straight into it. The crystals that you can choose from today are the red tiger's eye. So that's pile number one. We have carnelian for pile number two. And then we have the chevron amethyst quartz for pile number three. So as always, take a moment to just close your eyes, take a breath, and have a think about which of those crystals speaks to you, whether it be one or a couple of them. So you've got the red tiger's eye, which is pile number one, the carnelian, pile number two, and the chevron amethyst quartz, pile number three. And I will say this is a MahrukhX reading. So the decks that I'm using are the Future Higher Self Oracle, the Butterfly Effect, and then we are finishing off with a Meet Your Shadow Self card. I just felt that with the interview that Anne and I are about to do on Gemini Rising with Christopher Maher, who is an incredible healer. He's an ex-Navy SEAL, and we're talking about transmuting trauma, the trauma that we've experienced in our lives, and also the generational trauma that we are born with, that doing this healing work and meeting our shadow selves was the perfect way to end the reading. So if you're ready and you've picked your pile, we are going to start with pile number one. Okay, so for those of you that have picked pile number one, which is the red tiger's eye, we're going to get going. Okay, so as always, I haven't looked at any of these cards. I meditated, I created the piles, and we will see them together. So card number one, explore the possibilities. So I don't know if you're questioning what's going on or if you're hoping to shift something in your life, but it's time to start the exploration of what it is you can step into, whether it be a healing journey, whether it be a new job, a new profession, moving house. And things don't always need to happen immediately. I am the queen of impatience. I understand wanting everything immediately, but at the same time, the universe always has a plan for us, and divine timing is very, very real. And with manifestation, when we want to create something, you have to start exploring and putting that out to the universe. Many years ago, I wanted to move from where I was. The location I was living wasn't ideal, and I had no idea how I was going to get around all of that. And I just started looking. I started looking in the areas that I desired to be in, and within 12 months, things lined up and I was able to move. So start exploring the possibilities now, because you don't know what you're manifesting for the future, or hopefully you do. The next card is, despite the frustration, you're on your way to making all your dreams come true. So that's just confirming everything that I just said. I understand the frustration more than you could ever possibly realize. But when you're doing the work and when you're trusting the universe, all of this does come together. So this is going to be a moment of trust. This is going to be a moment of releasing and letting go for you. But it's all good things. The universe is on your side. Okay. And can I say, with pile number one, cards were leaping out of the deck when I was shuffling. So there you go. The next card is, a powerful change will transform your life. So you're really ready for this change. And I think that this is a really great moment for a completely new chapter to begin. And it's always so exciting when that happens. It shows you that you're doing life right. There are people that choose to come to this life and really sort of cruise along and they don't expand that much, and that's okay. That's their journey. For me, I always feel like every time I level up, every time a whole new chapter begins, and I sometimes feel as if I've lived 10 lifetimes in this one life. But to me, that means I'm growing and I'm changing and I'm moving through these different stages. And I feel like that's exactly where you're all at the moment. The next card is you have intuitive ideas that you really need to act upon. So you already know all of this. The only thing that might be standing in your way is fear. Fear of letting go of what's comfortable, fear of stepping into the unknown, fear of what could go wrong. What you have to focus on is everything that could go right, because it will. And having a hurdle along the way doesn't mean things are going wrong. It means you're being redirected to a better way, a better path. And again, you already know what it is you need to do. So you have to trust that. I've been saying in the weekly readings for weeks at this point that you already have the answers within you. It's time to tap in. And everyone that's watching this channel or any of the spiritual networks, you're already a light worker, and it's time to trust yourself, because so often we get in our own ways. So the final card from the Future Higher Self Oracle, you will be blessed with more than you could ever imagine. How's that for confirmation? You are doing everything that you are meant to be doing. All the good things are coming. I mean, you don't get a more positive or powerfully positive reading than this. So we're going to move on to the butterfly effect. And the first card out is teach. You'll one day share your story with others. You have power and a lot more than you realize. Speaking up about your experiences and about what's important to you is a way to create change. So know that you're a way shower. You're leading the way, you're carving a path so that others can see what's possible and move forward in that direction and hopefully push even past you. But it's your job to show people what is possible. And that's an incredible honor to have that bestowed upon you in this life. It's an incredible honor to know that people look up to you. So keep that in mind. The next card is ancestors. Your ancestors are rooting for your success as they watch you break ancestral karma. Ironic considering the interview that we are going to film in less than an hour. One step at a time, more gets cleared and more growth sinks in. Abso-freaking-lutely. Your ancestors are always on your side. Always, 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 always. They are cheering you on despite any challenges you guys may have faced together. If we're talking about ancestors that you knew in this life and maybe aren't here anymore, the ancestors you didn't know are absolutely cheering you on. And you have to remember that even if it was a difficult relationship in this life, or if they were a difficult person, if it's somebody you know of and maybe didn't meet, part of that is their soul journey in this life, and learning how to navigate all of this, learning how to move through it. It's part of their soul growth, but it doesn't mean that's who they are at a soul level. When we cross over, we always want the highest good for whoever they're supporting. So know that they are there. They're fighting for you. They're trying to help you where they can. They're trying to lead the way, highlight things that will help you moving forward. And you have to trust that and know that you've got their support. As far as healing or breaking the ancestral karma, I would suggest you watch the episode that we have coming up with Christopher. This is the man that I've been doing the deep spiritual healing work with, that I've been talking about on both High Vibe and on this channel. And it has been transformative. So come and join us for that, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you're watching this after that, the recording will obviously be up. I will have the link below. And the last card for the butterfly effect is perseverance. You're going to work hard for something to find a way to bring your plans to completion with a rekindled love for the journey and worrying less about the end result. So again, it's a confirmation card that everything you're working on, when you hit those hurdles, when you hit those speed bumps, you have to keep going. It's not a stop sign that you're hitting. All it is an obstacle. And you have to prove that you've got the stamina to get to where you need to go. Okay, so like I said, we're finishing off with the Meet Your Shadow Self because I figure if we're having the discussion with Christopher about growth and working on ourselves and healing our trauma and moving through all of that, we should work on our shadow self as well. So the card that has come up for this pile is Insecure Shadow. So the shadow side of this is lacking self-confidence or assurance, fragile, need reassurance, feel inadequate. The flip side of that, everything you need is within you and you can handle whatever the world throws at you. So once again, a final confirmation card to everything that has been said in this reading so far. You guys who picked pile number 1 have such an exciting journey in front of you, and I don't want you to be concerned or fearful about what lays ahead because everything is good. This is where you really have to let go. You have to trust yourself and just go with it. Listen to what your gut is telling you and trust it because it knows. Your soul knows exactly where you're going. Start exploring how you get to the things that you want to manifest because just by doing that and putting it out there and showing the world that you are ready, the world will start to help you manifest, as will your ancestors on the other side who are cheering you on. Okay, so we are now going to move on to pile number 2. Now, for those of you that picked pile number 2, which is the carnelian, we are going to get straight into it. So card number 1, don't dwell on what might be on the other side of that closed door. This feels like a very sliding doors moment. Was that the name of the movie with Gwyneth Paltrow? It's very easy for all of us to get lost in and fixate on what could have been, what should have been, and our minds completely spiral. And we focus on all these things that haven't happened, won't happen, probably won't happen. And it takes away from the now. It takes away from the joy. It takes away from the things that are immediately in front of us. And we need to stop doing that. We need to focus on what is happening, what is going on with the people around us, and what's happening in the situations in front of us in real time. We're living in a moment and on a broader scale where people are freaking out over government and politics and what could happen, what might happen, all of those sorts of scenarios. And it's not helpful in any way, shape, or form. And so for me personally, I've made a rule that I will not freak out over something that somebody speculates may happen, could happen, should happen, or whatever it may be, because it's not helpful. What it does is it takes away from my time of achieving actual goals that need to be met. It takes away from the joy of this moment. So don't get lost in that spiral of what could possibly be. The second card is don't soothe your pain with momentary pleasures. Oh, it's so easy for us to self-medicate. Whether it be alcohol, drugs, food, exercise, lack of exercise, whatever it is that you do to medicate and make yourself feel better, now is not the time to be doing it. I'm not a Puritan. I don't tell people not to drink or whatever it is they're doing to enjoy themselves, unwind a little bit. But if you are medicating to numb yourself, it's not going to help you moving forward. Drugs, self-explanatory. If you're drinking to excess, drinking to make yourself sleep, all of that, it is not helpful. Food is another big one where we just sit and eat all the things that are so bad for our bodies. So make sure you're not doing any of that. For me, exercise is a way that I ground myself and I clear my head and do all that sort of stuff. I know for other people, it's more of a chore. And if that's what it is for you, then make yourself get up and do it. Don't stop all these things that you know are good for you because you're in a dark place. The things that are better for you will actually serve you in a much healthier and a more productive way. Okay. The third card is you're a lot tougher than you think you are. Whatever it is that's upsetting you, whatever it is that you're wanting to self medicate because of, you don't need to. You have the strength within you, and I understand the feeling where you feel like you're not capable of dealing with what has been thrown at you. When I was coming out of the abusive relationship, I remember one of the girlfriends who was left in my life, and there weren't many because I had been isolated. She would sit there and say to me as I'm crying into my food that I didn't even want to eat. And she would say to me, "You are the strongest woman I know." And I didn't feel that way. I felt like a complete failure. And the reality was, it was years later that I looked back and went, holy crap, I was so strong to get through that, to get out of it when I did. And it's so easy for us to minimize our own strength because we get uncomfortable sort of talking ourselves up and acknowledging our strengths. But the reality is we have it within us. Look back at everything you've made it through so far. And you've made it through all the things that were challenging. And whatever is going on for you at the moment, you'll make it through that as well. The next card is you're exactly where you need to be. And don't you love it whenever there's a unicorn riding in to save the day? Divine timing is everything. And I say it all the time, but it really is. And I know that often, right in the moment when we're dealing with challenges, it doesn't feel like the timing works. But the reality is it does. And often years later, you look back and you realize why you needed to be in that place at that time. The abusive relationship, because I talked about it before, that fundamentally changed who I was as a person and for the better. I wouldn't wish it upon anyone. I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy, but I am grateful for the experience because of who I became on the other side and the timing of it. I mean, it came at a time where I was working on myself already coming out of a marriage, and I thought I had it all together, and I mean I got it together really freaking quickly, but that needed to happen for me to get to where I am at this point in my life. And I know sometimes it's difficult to see it, especially when you're going through the swamp and you're right in the thick of it, but I promise you, you are exactly where you need to be. And the final card from the Future Higher Self Oracle is you will find your place in the world even when you don't know how. And that is the perfect description of how it felt for me. I did not know how I would ever recover from what I went through at that moment in my life. And the reality is it got me exactly where I needed to be. The strength, the focus on work that I had, the focus on healing myself got me to where I needed to be. And the therapist I had at the time, I could not have asked for anyone better, anyone that understood me anymore, someone who had the patience to listen to me, because I'm sure I was painful during that period of time. And it got me to a point where I was able to move over here and chase my dreams and do all these incredible things and ultimately work with Christopher, who we're interviewing in an hour, literally an hour. And without all of those things, I wouldn't have gotten to this point. So just know that you will find your place in the world as long as you As long as you don't get caught up in this, this is what will slow it down. And hopefully, if it does slow you down, you'll get yourself back on track. But when you do this, it makes it so much harder to get to this point where you find your place in the world. So just keep that in the back of your mind. The first of the butterfly effect cards is recognition. The spotlight is on you. Not only will you accomplish your goals and come out on top, but others will also recognize your success. You fought a good fight. So recognition is coming. You just need to stay on your path. You need to make sure that you are not deviating and getting lost in the quagmire that surrounds what you're going through. The next card is delusions. You can stay holed up in your mind, wishing, waiting, and wanting, or you can get up and make changes. Don't get lost in the fantasy world when you can create a reality that is so much better. So that goes right back to the first card that we pulled out, which is don't dwell on what might be on the other side of that closed door. The door is closed for a reason. Don't get lost in the delusions. There was once a job I really wanted, and it wasn't even a great job. It was just that I would have earned a lot of money. And I was so disappointed when I didn't get it that I kept fighting for that job. I ultimately, years later, was offered the job and I took it and I worked there for 2 years and I hated it. That job did not serve me in the way that I thought that it would, or the fantasy world that I had created around it based on information I'd been given. Don't get lost in your delusions because it slows you down and it stops you from getting exactly where you're meant to be. And the final card from the butterfly effect is patience. You've put in the work and now you're waiting to reap the benefits. Keep believing that your season is coming. The good you have put out in your life will manifest. There is no need to rush it. Coming from the world's most impatient person, you always have to trust the divine timing of the universe because she always has your back. She knows exactly where you're meant to be and when you're meant to be there. So trust it. Now, to finish off, meet your shadow self. It's the taker shadow. So the shadow part of this is takes more than give, opportunist, gold digger, and exploit. The other side, when we've worked on that part of ourselves, when you give selflessly of yourself, it sends positive vibrations and generosity gets returned. So don't get so caught up in what you have going on that you become a taker. You need to keep the energy flowing through the universe so that you're able to reap what you sow. Being there for other people, helping other people, guiding other people, sharing your experiences so that they can learn from what you've been through is a huge thing. Being kind and generous in a moment where it can be difficult because of what you're going through goes a very long way, because while you're going through stuff, it's very easy to get lost and not realize that other people are going through things as well. So just be very aware of what it is you're putting out to the universe, because what you put out will come back to you. Okay, we are going to move on to pile number 3. Okay, so for those of you that picked pile number 3, which is the chevron amethyst quartz, we are going to get into this reading, and it was pile number 3 that the cards kept leaping out. So we have a few extras in this one, but as I always tell you, I let the cards dictate exactly what it is we're meant to know. So card number 1, you miss the beauty when you are stressed. Be gentle with yourself, be messy sometimes, let it all go. Don't get caught up in the craziness of what's going on and let your mind get carried away. I talked about this a little bit when I was going through pile number 2. If you're focused on what could be, what should be, what you want it to be versus what is happening, you lose the joy of the present moment, and you can't afford to do that. You need to let go, trust the universe. And if that means getting a little bit messy, do it. That's what makes the best stories moving forward. Some of my messiest times are the stories my friends love the most. And I've got a million of them. Because you know what? Life hasn't been easy and it's been a journey trying to get to this point that I'm at. But I've had to remind myself at times to not get caught up in the spiral of my brain and instead be present in the moment and run with whatever is being presented to me. Card number 2. True love will find you in the end. So if you're single or if you're unhappy in a relationship, know that the love that you yearn for is coming. I know that at times it can feel completely hopeless, but it's always in those moments when you feel like it's just done, it's never going to happen, that something really incredible will show up and surprise you just out of the blue. Next card is you are currently under construction. Please be patient. Okay, so there seems to be a theme in these readings today, and patience is one of them. And I always find it funny when I have to tell people to be patient because I am the world's most impatient person. But you have to trust the journey, you have to trust the timing. It's the way this world works. Next card is remember you came here to teach others. So you're a way shower. You are showing people that it can be done. You're showing people how to do it. So share your story with people. If there's somebody that you're speaking to and they seem a little lost and it's something that you've been through, help them, guide them through this situation so that you can help them get to the other side. Listen to them and be patient with them. It's a huge responsibility when you are teaching others and you are guiding others, but it's also the most incredible gift when you are able to see the progress that people made because you helped them. And it truly is an incredible honor to be in that space. The next card is don't allow a scarcity mindset limit your success. Everything that we have in this world is a creation of our own minds. And if you believe that there isn't enough, if you are freaked out about money and go, oh, there's not enough, that's what you'll continue to create in your world. When I was traveling backwards and forwards between the US and Australia, I would sometimes go and look at ticket prices and think, oh my gosh, I don't think I can get over there this time. And it was what I needed to do. I had meetings and things set up. And I would just close the computer and I would walk away and I would go, you know what? If I'm meant to go, I'm going to be able to get a ticket. And then 2 or 3 days later, I would get a little niggle in my brain saying, get online, have a look at ticket prices. And I would jump on and I would find a ticket that was so perfectly priced. And even if it was on the higher end, I would go, okay, I can do this. And you know what? Then I would say, the universe will provide. It'll be fine. And I would always get a modeling job that paid that little bit extra, or a higher paid modeling job would come through and that would cover my ticket. You have to trust the universe and you have to trust that it will provide for everything you need. If you focus on lack, that is what you will get. If you focus on abundance and put that out to the universe, that is what you'll get. So this one is completely on you. And the final one of these cards is a detour is available to you right now that can be a benefit. So you're obviously going to hit a fork in the road where you're able to take a different path to get to where you need to go. And if that shows up for you, take it. Take it, take it, take it, take it. Amazing. So we're moving on to the butterfly effect, and that is memories. You may be feeling a bit nostalgic and likely triggered, but you know, while you can't go back in time and change the past, you can always change the way you think about it. A lot of things to do with our past. I was having this conversation earlier today. I was talking with someone about if a friendship ends, you know, they were never your friend. And I don't actually agree with that. I think people come into our life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And sometimes the reason for that person coming into our lives is done. It's completed. So we don't we don't need to be connected in the same way anymore. But that doesn't take away the incredible memories and love that were created when we were together. And I know that especially if a friendship ends badly, we can get fixated on that and feel like um feel like everything that we experienced meant nothing. And that's just not true. It's not true. And this is where you have to get your mind right and go, there was a lot of love, but our journey's over. It's the same with ex-boyfriends, ex-lovers, ex-girlfriends, whoever it is that you've loved in the past. Just because a relationship doesn't end in a forever doesn't mean that there wasn't real love and there isn't a real connection there. And this is what you have to remember. So you have to think about all of those things. And I'll go a step further, reading Dolores Cannon and all the hypnosis that's gone on, discovering what goes on between life and death and all these different parts of our life. One of the greatest and most important things that she said, which has resonated with me, is sometimes the people that come into our lives and we have these really difficult relationships with, abusive and hurtful in many different ways. It could be physical, sexual, emotionally, mentally, whatever it may be. She said, often those are the souls that love us the most on the other side. And she said, the reason they agree to do it is one, for our soul growth, two, for theirs. But three, and most importantly, it's because they can do it from a place of love. And I know that sounds really twisted, but that has brought me so much peace in this life, because I've had a lot of things go on when I was younger, and working through all of that has been difficult. There's not a question about it. I've mentioned it in plenty of other readings, but knowing that and knowing the people that have really devastated me, thinking about that takes so much anger away from me in a really good and positive way. And so changing the narrative of your past and looking at things differently, and also understanding that good people can do bad things. It doesn't make them a bad person. It doesn't make them an evil person. So keep that in mind as well. And this is about freeing you, not freeing them. The next card is health. Expect to have a boost in your energy levels or an increase of healthy activities that will greatly improve your overall health, as well as help you maintain a positive mindset. So, I mean, that's wonderful. So you want to expect that, but also it's up to you to make healthy choices. If you're doing things that are really bad for you, that's going to be a little harder to come true. So it's up to you to honor your body, honor your health, and move forward from there. But just know that the universe is pushing for you to improve physically and energetically. Next card is jackpot. At last, you will feel like you have it all: love, success, money, and feeling proud of yourself. You will finally achieve the everlasting happy ending you dreamed of. So all good things are coming. You just have to sort of navigate this space. And I think a lot of it has to do with fixing your mindset, your memories of the past, the letting yourself be present in the moment. All of that will help lead you to the love that you desire and the outcomes you desire moving forward. And the final card from the butterfly effect is progress. If things have been slow or you've been feeling unfulfilled lately, expect a strong shift that will shake things up for you to liberate you out of this funk that you have been in. So if you have been struggling, there's going to be a shift. Just know that. What I will say is, if you're focusing on health and you're choosing foods and things that are good for you versus self-medicating in any way, that makes it easier. Because when you're healthy, it's easier to move through all these other things. Okay. I couldn't read it. So the Meet Your Shadow Self deck card is slowness shadow. So when we're in our shadow, postpones decisions or actions, tentative, unsure, or slow in acting. When you work through that, Things don't get any easier by putting things off. Take action. It's the only way to change your, whoop, it's the only way to change your life. So it's time to become proactive and start doing the things that you need to do. And things will start to fall into place. And believe me, I understand procrastination. I'm the queen of it when I'm doing things like housework that I don't enjoy. A phone call comes in, man, I will take that call so fast and I will sit down and I will talk to that person for 2 hours because I don't want to clean. If I focus on finishing what I need to do, then I can enjoy all of my friends and actually go and see them in real life and do all the things that I want to do. So just know the faster you move through things and get all the crappy tasks out of the way, then you get to be present and enjoy all of the things. So I hope these readings resonated with some of you or all of you. I always love to see in the comments which pile you chose and whether it resonated with you. I love the feedback. 45 minutes, Anne and I will be going live with Christopher Maher, like we've talked about, all about freeing ourselves from trauma in this life and living a life that is as free as it can possibly be. So join us for that. And I will be back a little bit later today with the weekly Oracle Wisdom. Have a wonderful February, everybody. And I look forward to seeing you in the live chat for Gemini Rising or for the weekly Oracle Wisdom.